We live in a world that is predicated off of making us feel inadequacy, despair, alienation, and misery. I'm gonna still pursue joy. That's a creative practice. How do we find joy in those impossible places?
I believe your authenticity triggers or threatens people because it exposes parts of themselves that they had to suppress or to hide or to abandon in order to survive. And I feel there is a lot of shame around visible vulnerability in this world, a lot of pressure to suppress authentic expression. And I feel there's this deeply ingrained fear in us as humans, living beings, this fear of social punishment and being ostracized and exiled for expressing our emotions openly, whether it's showing our emotions or showing parts of ourselves that society tells us to hide. Like I saw this amazing clip of Alok, and they talked about, their body hair and how they felt they always need to shave it and to erase it, and things like these, that just make me think also how we're being taught to hide our emotions and just our messiness. And last week I posted a video here, and I have a very intimate community here, which consists of people that are highly sensitive themselves, and it's kind of emotional vulnerability that connects us here. And I'm just so grateful for this sense of connection that I'm feeling and that is coming from you. I'm just so deeply grateful for that. And I just wanted to say that because I felt like last week it was maybe one of my most vulnerable videos, because I showed I probably showed things that I maybe kind of felt a little ashamed of, where I felt, I need to appear composed and put together and empowered and all of that, even though I didn't feel like it. And I felt like, how am I going to continue expressing myself through this medium here, YouTube, if I am trying to hide this part of myself? Like, this part was feeling messy and vulnerable and just in pain. So I'm very glad that I did this video, because I feel like a strong sense of relief now. There is this health section on YouTube, and I usually don't look into it, but this time I did. And there were some comments that made me think about the topic of authenticity again, and how expressing your vulnerability and maybe also your kind of weakness or your foolishness or things you're kind of maybe, being taught to feel ashamed about, how some people react to that and how they can feel kind of triggered by that. Because I feel people often only tolerate authenticity when it looks polished and empowered and detached, especially because I got some comments like romantic love is so foolish, or this is kind of immature or whatever. But yeah, so be it. I mean, it's life. We are who we are. I am who I am at this point in time, and I can only be true to myself. I can only express myself like you. You can, consume, and you take something with you and maybe express yourself. But we're all connected through the same kind of emotional currents that we're moving through, right? So I feel like authenticity, especially in this sphere, is often only tolerated when it's kind of aesthetically pleasing and put together. But raw authenticity, expressing your longing, expressing your grief and your confusion, your heartbreak, your dependency, your attachment, maybe also emotional regression, neediness, all of that, of course, that threatens the modern idea of being emotionally detached and empowered, being self-contained and invulnerable. People get threatened or triggered by your vulnerability because it forces them into contact with the kind of emotions they tend to suppress themselves. And, talking about heartbreak and empowerment, there is a difference between getting over something and getting through something. Yeah, getting over something, like we have this mentality, well, now, I just need to get over this person like as quickly as possible, but that's just not how healing works. Getting through something, really working through it, really metabolizing it, that's messy. And, because culturally, we glorify bypassing. We really do. Compartmentalizing. These slogans like just move on, just detach, focus on yourself, just focus on yourself. If that would be so easy, if we have like attachment wounds and trauma in our childhood, then yay. This can actually lead rather to emotional dissociation. That's what I believe, dressed up as empowerment. I'm just saying that suppressing pain won't heal it. Denying vulnerability doesn't create authenticity. And pretending, why should I pretend to be fine if I'm not? Pretending not to care disconnects us from ourselves. Why should we do that? Because healing requires contact and connection with yourselves, with the parts, especially those parts that feel deep shame. And what's more healing than expressing your shame and then being met by the people, being seen by the people that truly connect with you, that are on the same frequency as you? What is more beautiful than that?
I changed because people loved me, because other gender variant people knew that I was mistaking my self-hatred as an identity and bore witness to me with courage and conviction and believed and loved and rooted and championed in me before I was ready to do that for myself. And so then I began to ask myself, if my friends love me, then maybe there's something worth loving in me.
There's also something I've been noticing here on YouTube. I have no Instagram and no TikTok, but here on YouTube, it's this kind of, I don't know how to call it, maybe kind of girl boss manifestation mentality. I feel like there's this cultural pressure right now, or like this trend to constantly perform, certainty and abundance and self-worth and detachment, confidence, productivity, emotional mastery, to avoid actually sitting with the messy grief and with the shame and with the loneliness and whole kind of dependency and fear and rejection and longing that is also part of being human, that is also part of healing, right? And even if you want to manifest, even then, even if you're thinking in these terms, you need congruency, you need alignment, you need integrity, and that just doesn't come from performance and simply from faking it. It comes from integration. Authenticity always destabilizes social roles. People unconsciously rely on others to reinforce the kinds of rules or emotional rules they live by. When someone says, I am heartbroken, I am confused, I have loved deeply, or I feel ashamed, I need connection. When someone says that without hiding it and without joking it away, it disrupts the social performance for a moment. And because honestly, and that's so sad in this world, people build their identity around suppression. And I just don't want to play that game anymore. So what true authenticity actually does, and here I have to think of Alok sometimes, I have to think about Easy Rider being ostracized because they have longer hair, right? It's so crazy, what people feel threatened by,
Well, they're not scared of you. They scared of what you represent to them. Hey, man. All we represent to them, man, is somebody who needs a haircut.
Oh, no. What you represent to them is freedom.
At that time, I was still really invested in the fact that the reason I was being discriminated against was because of what I looked like, about my identity. And of course, that's part of it, but it's deeper. It's because of what I represent. In other words, it's not because of what I lack, my inability to look like what a man or woman should be. It's because I love. People sense love, and ultimately they make the decision that they're not able to receive it, and that's why they respond with violence.
And what I love about Alok so much is they embody freedom and they embody softness and also emotional visibility and vulnerability and nonconformity and self-expression. I saw this clip and it immediately had like a very soothing effect on me. I felt so connected to this energy. And maybe it can awaken grief in people who abandoned those parts in themselves long ago. And people sometimes attack when they actually secretly mourn or secretly feel in pain and don't express that pain. I mean, let's be honest. This modern world worships control, and vulnerability breaks the illusion of control. Whether it's emotional control or image control or narrative control or relational control, vulnerability breaks that control. And visible longing and heartbreak reminds people that humans are relational beings. We're all seekers of connection. Whichever form of connection it is that you're longing for, it is always a feeling of wanting to be seen and felt and held and appreciated in your whole authenticity. Whether it's through a romantic connection or whether it is through your job or the big dream that you're trying to manifest, or whether it's through your friends or through your pets or whatever. Also, authenticity always creates projection. If some people suppress their own inner child, their own softness and their own longing, their own authenticity, then witnessing someone who expresses their inner child, or it just may feel unbearable for them. They just may feel like they need to lash out and they need to attack you for that. I just feel compassion for that, because they feel kind of irritation and superiority because they have this need for control, and sometimes even like mockery and contempt. Like we know that especially like from juvenile people sometimes.
Do they see them on the street, RuPaul?
You're the disgrace to the human race, you know that?
Yeah, they're taking pictures of you.
I came in, did you see me before I came in? I'm the sexy one, right? The model. Oh yeah. But you're gonna put us on this film. What are you doing? A show? He's gonna go on this sex show.
So, boys will be boys, and girls will be girls.
And again, I have to think about Easy Rider and the scene where they're sitting in this restaurant and there are these men like spewing their hatred. Like really, there's this contempt in the air.
I think she's cute. Isn't she though? I guess we put them in a woman's cell, don't you reckon?
Oh, I think we ought to put them in a cage and charge a little admission to see them. Those are what is known as country witticism.
Look like a bunch of refugees from a gorilla love-in.
A gorilla couldn't love that.
Nor could a mother.
I would made him up with one of those black wenches out there.
Oh, no, I don't know about that.
And that's about as low as they come. I'll tell you.
Societies have always had an uneasy relationship with people who visibly embody softness, embody emotional openness, nonconformity, or just love outside rigid expectations. And I think misogyny and patriarchy are deeply connected to that discomfort, because patriarchal systems don't just try to control women, they try to control anything associated with the feminine, the emotional, the wild, the untamable parts of human nature itself. And nature has never really been controllable. I mean, hair grows, feelings return, desire resurfaces, and truth keeps finding cracks to come through. And I believe that's why authenticity is ultimately stronger than repression, because the wild within us may be wounded, it may be hidden, it may be shamed or exiled for a time, but ultimately it will return. And I just feel if people hold this weird hatred against others because they're different, it almost feels like an obsession and like a weird form of attachment even, because, you know, if it wouldn't affect you, I mean, you wouldn't react to it so strongly. And I truly feel that attachment reveals exactly those places where we feel disconnected from ourselves. And there is nothing to feel ashamed of here, because I feel we need to understand that longing or attachment or even obsession, whatever it is, it illuminates unmet needs, you know, wounds that still haven't healed, unlived parts. I feel like the answer isn't, you know, to never need anyone or to kind of never love deeply or not to be kind of a romantic fool and never fall in love again. I believe the answer is, and I'm just living and learning that myself, of course, owning your ship, yeah? Of course, the relationship to yourself is so important, but also through relationships, I mean, we become conscious. Through relationships, we grow and, you know, we meet ourselves inside the experience. This morning I took a walk through nature and I asked myself, why am I feeling so different? Like for the first time in a long, long time, I felt like a real sense of relief and a real sense of wholesomeness. I've been carrying two pains at once, basically. Kind of the original pain, and then also this tension of suppressing and of managing, of controlling, of intellectualizing and hiding that pain, you know? So when I finally decided to express myself honestly and vulnerably, especially publicly and creatively, something inside of me probably, or like a part of me probably stopped fighting itself. I believe that's what it is. And that feels incredibly freeing. There is so much power in allowing yourself to feel grief or humiliation or shame, allowing yourself to feel that. Because then the nervous system realizes, I actually survived this feeling. I don't have to contain or suppress it any longer. And that's really beautiful. And no matter whoever gets triggered or threatened by that, it is not the kind of energy you want in your life anyway.
This ring I've been performing with all summer. It just reminds me of the kind of person I want to be. What people might see as like messy or scribbled. That's who I want to be, because at every angle I'm something else. I was waiting for someone to come and protect me, and now I realize that I was waiting for me.